Yo, what's up, man? Hector here, strongestech.com. In this video, we're going to be breaking down the 5 common mistakes you're making with the kettlebell snatch. That's right, we're finally getting into the sexy exercises of the kettlebell world. Kettlebell snatch has been equipped as the Tsar of kettlebell lifts, right? I think everybody's heard that by now. Basically, the king of kettlebell lifts. I would argue that would be the jerk, but it is, in my opinion, again, arguably the best single movement kettlebell exercise that there is, right? We've got the swing, we've got the clean, we've got the jerk. The swing and the clean are single movements. The jerk is 2 movements, but a single movement, right? So if you want like the biggest bang for your buck, sure, there's some overhead mobility, etc. that's kind of required, but if we're looking at like maximum oxygen consumption, strength endurance, extracting the most oxygen from the upper body and lower body, moving a weight the furthest distance, getting the most amount of work done right from the ground to overhead, man, it's hard to beat the kettlebell snatch, all right? So why should you care about this? Well, for one, if you're new to kettlebells and you're just now getting into the kettlebell snatch, this is going to be an important video. If you're prepping to become a Strong First kettlebell instructor or any other kettlebell instructor certification, this is going to be pretty important to you. So without further ado, the 5 mistakes you're making with the kettlebell snatch. Let's get started. All right, so let's go ahead and dive right in. So before I do, over my shoulder, be sure to check out if you've missed the 5 common mistakes around the swing, if you've missed especially the 5 common mistakes around the clean, highly recommend you back up for a second, check those out, because that's going to give you a good context of what we're going to talk about today. All right. So the snatch, I used to think this, and just as time has gone on, more practice, more teaching, I used to think and I used to say that the snatch is a swing that ends up overhead. In my opinion, that's incorrect. Why? It's misleading, because most guys and gals are going to literally swing to overhead. And that's mistake number 1, is casting out, not taming of the arc, and letting that bell go out. This is one of the biggest mistakes that I see with people that come into the gym, online. I even see professional kettlebell instructors. Why is that hard for me to say? Do this. Why should you care about this? Why should this be important? Well, if, let's say, snatch test, we've got to do a 5-minute snatch test. And even just for like technique purposes, being efficient, we want the bell to move the least distance possible. So if I'm swinging out, this is the common mistake I see, out, and then in this way, and then up overhead. Like people aren't redirecting the bell until it gets here. By here, you've done too much work. You're already kind of having to pull the bell in, okay? So that's why I don't teach, I don't like to even say anymore that the snatch is a swing that ends up overhead. It would be more correct to say that the snatch is a clean that ends overhead, because the clean reduces and redirects the force from a horizontal to a vertical trajectory. That's what we want. And so the biggest mistake, one of the most common mistakes here I see is hike, okay, swing, and then start to pull the bell in here, and then go overhead. Then on the way down, casting out, coming down this way. And why should you care about this? Because if we're coming out this way, where's the force going? It's going out that way. And I'm going to have to reel it in and catch it and pull it in and feed it between my legs. That's going to put more stress on your grip, and your grip is going to be the first thing that gives out before your legs give out, okay? So we want to be as efficient as possible. So I'm going to show you a little bit of what that looks like, what we want, and then what we don't want, okay? And this is why I've got my little foam roller friend here, so I can show you what it is that we're looking for, all right? So what we don't want, I'm gonna turn to the side so you kind of see what I'm doing here. What we don't want is casting out. Again, if you've watched the clean video, if I'm starting the snatch this way, what am I leading with? I'm leading with my hand. Remember I said, leading with the hand doesn't result in anything good, okay? I don't want to lead with the hand and then try to pull it in. I've got to lead with the elbow. It's the same exact thing. That's why the snatch is the clean that ends overhead. So I'm going to show you what we don't want and then what we want, all right? I mean, that just feels crappy. Like I even feel it kind of yanking on my shoulder a little bit. Can you see everything's going out because I'm leading with my hand. And then I'm pulling it in here and then inserting my hand at the top. We don't want that. We want this elbow, just like we did with the clean. As soon as I hike and as soon as I drive, I want this right here. I'm already redirecting the force to go up this way. Then on the way down, I'm not leading with the hand, I'm leading with the elbow. On the way down, I'm pulling it in, same thing, and feeding between my legs. Now, that's why I've got this little foam roller to keep me honest. If I cast out, I'm going to knock this guy over. If I don't, obviously I'm doing it right. And then I can begin to challenge myself. So I'm going to start like a little further away from the foam roll. Okay? So if I go out, I'm going to knock this thing over. Okay? I'm going to challenge myself. Move it a little bit closer. I'm going to move it closer. I'm going to put it right up on that bell. Let's see if I can do this. We have boxing bags here too. Sometimes I'll practice this right in front of the boxing bag. And my goal here is not to hit that. Okay? So now I'm really up close here. Can you see here? As soon as I drive, boom. That's the movement. Not out. You lead with the hand. Force is going out. You've got to redirect it while the bell's out in mid-flight. As soon as I drive, I'm already redirecting the force. Like, I'm not even letting it go out. On the way down, not casting out either. As soon as I come here, I pull it straight down. Okay, kind of like you're going to elbow strike something down. So you can use a little foam roll, okay? Use a foam roll. This is a 3-footer, and it will definitely help you, give you external feedback if you're doing this correctly. So that's mistake number 1, casting out, swinging to overhead, and then casting out on the way down, pulling you off balance. You got to pull it back in. That's going to prematurely fatigue the grip, and you're not going to be as efficient. You're not going to be able to use as much power. And if you're trying to do the SFG snatch test, or even the tactical strength challenge snatch test, or any other thing where you've got to do maximum repetitions, we want to be as efficient as possible. Okay? Common mistake number 2 is pulling the bell out of your hips. So kind of starting a lawnmower, right? So hike and then pulling the bell out. Shoulders now shrugged. I'm no longer connected here, okay? Now, the snatch is a quick lower body pull, but it's not initiating with the arm. You do that long enough and things are going to go wrong. Okay, so we're getting disconnection here when we're kind of initiating here. We're putting more tension into the elbow, and we don't want to put unnecessary stress. We don't want to put any stress on that bicep tendon. Okay, so I'll show you a little bit about what that looks like. This way, yes. Make sure there's nothing behind me. Always be aware of your surroundings. There should never be anything behind you when you're going to lift a kettlebell. There should never be anything behind you, right? So, word of the wise. You know, I'm gonna kind of this way. You can kind of see. So, pulling the bell out of my hips. See? Like starting that lawnmower. You don't want to be pulling the bell out of your hips. Puts too much stress on the bicep tendon. So if your elbows are ever aching on you, that's because you're creating too much tension. And also, what happens is on the next sequential snatch or clean or swing, when we're pulling out, we're creating, again, it's creating tension here. Take a look. So as soon as I hike pass, and as soon as I drive, I'm already pulling here to swing, to clean, to snatch. Then on the sequential movement, as soon as the bell's coming down, I'm already going to start pre-tensing here, and then I keep this elbow flexed because I'm going to pull it out of my hips again. On that backswing, we want full extension of the elbow, okay? We want full extension of the elbow. Almost imagine like you're flexing your tricep, kind of like you're doing like a tricep push down, right? Or like a dip. You're coming here full extension, okay? You want full extension of that arm to release tension here on the bicep tendon, okay? So full extension, and then as soon as you drive, this stays straight. As soon as you drive, boom, and then pull in. Because now you're driving, your hips are initiating the movement. Bell starts to pop out, but it's like simultaneous. As soon as like, boom, you're already kind of pulling the weight in. And then your hips are propelling the bell the entire way. So we're not pulling the bell out of our hips. We're not pulling the bell out of our hips. We're initiating with the hips. Okay, so that's what we want. Initiating with the hips and not pulling the bell out. Okay, so that's mistake number 2, pulling the bell out of your hips. Don't do that. Mistake number 3 is over gripping the bell. See too many people with crazy tears in the middle of the hand. If you get calluses, and you will, we want them more towards the top of the fingers and even like kind of like where the finger meets your knuckles here. Like because that's where you're going to grab and hook the bell. See, as soon as you hook the bell, but you notice I'm not there's no contact here. I'm not grabbing the bell here. So I mentioned some of this in the clean video. As soon as I drive, a lot of the work is complete. From there, I'm just guiding. I believe it was Brett Jones who said, the hips drive, the arms guide, right? And that's a very good like mental picture. Like your arms are just loose ropes, right? Keeping the bell tethered to your body so the way the bell doesn't fly out, okay? So as soon as you drive, like your arms are loose ropes, and then you're just redirecting and then punching. If the kettlebell is banging into your arms, you're either not using quick hands, like we talked about in the kettlebell clean, because the same thing, again, the same actions that we apply to the clean, we're going to be applying to the snatch. Relax your grip and then quick hands. You got to insert your hand into that bell. Okay? If you're gripping too hard, the bell's going to rotate inside your palm. You're going to start to get tears. And the bell's going to slam into your wrist at the top. Here's what that looks like. See? And then look at my wrist. My wrist is all kinds of like bent, jacked, and not good, right? Horrible alignment there. We don't want that broken wrist. So I'll kind of demonstrate that from like the clean, so this way it's easier for me to demo, because it's the same thing when you go overhead with a snatch. So if I grip it like I'm grabbing a dumbbell or like I'm going to do a push-up on it, that's not how we grip kettlebells. We're not gripping like a full palm grip. No, because you can see here that already starts pinching. It already starts pinching here, okay? And then if I'm over gripping, it starts to grind inside my hand. And that's what leads to creating those tears. So I'm going to do a couple over gripping, but like in a clean, so you can just kind of see the action there, right? Okay. You can see how it's like that's already burning. Turn that into sets of 5, whatever it is that you're doing, a lot of tears in snatching. As soon as you drive your hip, you want to relax your hand. As soon as you drive and you've redirected, here you can relax. Relax your grip, and then you have to push your hand inside the bell. The handle controls the bell. Okay? The handle controls the bell. Okay? See that? So I've given this analogy before on previous videos of this idea of like an orbit, right? And so I want the handle to move around the kettlebell, right? See how the handle controls the bell. So when I do this, it's the little planet orbiting the big planet, right? Little planet, big planet. But if I turn it upside down, now big planet orbiting small planet. And so now the bell is in control of the handle, and then here's what the impact is. Hard, right? Versus this. Nothing. So we want to push the handle around the bell because the handle controls the kettlebell. All right? The handle controls the kettlebell. And the only way to push that handle and control the bell, it's kind of like the handle is kind of like the rudder, right? The rudder of a ship. And if you think about it, a rudder is not that big compared to like a massive like Navy ship or something, right? But that little rudder can move that whole entire ship. The handle is the rudder for the kettlebell, okay? And the only way to move that rudder is you have to have a relaxed hand. So now I'm going to show you what we want that to look like. So I'm going to slow it down. So as soon as I drive and I'm going to get right about here, you're going to see me completely relax my hand and push my hand straight overhead and fixate. Okay? Let's see. Yeah, we'll do right here. All right? So you can see my hand gets in deep. See, gets in deep into the handle, 45 degrees. There's no gap. There's nothing here, right? Nice deep grip there. So I'm gonna do a couple more. As soon as I drive, relax the hand, push it inside. See, I'm relaxing my hand and actively putting it inside the bell. And it would be the same thing if it was the clean, right? It would be the same thing. I'm actively moving the handle. The handle is the rudder, steering that ship, okay? So that's mistake number 3. Over gripping and allowing the bell to be the rudder, and from there all it does is slam into your wrist. Okay, mistake number 4 that you're making with a kettlebell swing is not staying in your dang lane. What does that mean? I touched on this a little bit in the swing, where we align the bell to that side that we're swinging, right? Versus starting in the middle and kind of like turning your body. So that's like stage 1 of getting an idea of staying in your lane. When we're snatching, here's the mistake. Snatch, overhead, the first movement, which can actually be leading with the elbow, but we're just not staying in our lane. Here's what I mean. As soon as, which is why I don't like the cue with the high pull, this. I don't like that, okay? I do not teach the snatch this way because you're no longer staying in your lane. Look at my elbow, right? Imagine 2 traffic lanes, and I got someone here, right? Sidewalk. And if I come out this way, my elbow's now going out of the lane. Plus, I've got all this disconnection, which is why I cover the high pull is bringing this arm in tight. Okay? So as soon as we drive, we keep this elbow straight in. Okay? I've never liked teaching the high pull, bringing that arm out and bringing that elbow up. No. You've got to pull really low in a way. You got to pull it to your hip, right? So I've never liked this high pull like this. I don't teach it that way. So on the way down, people start to reverse engineer this high pull. So if they're like, well, if I did the high pull this way and I snatch, then that means I must come down this exact same way. You want to imagine that like you're snatching and there's a wall next to you, so you actually can't go out, right? It's kind of like the wall drill, like the face the wall squat, and like foam roll, like the foam roll. Like I don't want to go out. I also don't want my elbow to go out, right? I don't want to chicken wing it. So as soon as I drive, it's not this way on the way up, and it's not this way on the way down. You want to reverse the high pull, like I mentioned before. Keep this elbow in. So as soon as you snatch this way, what are you going to do? Lead with the elbow, and you're going to come straight down. So here are my lanes. It's like paintbrush, right? Like you're painting up and down, right? Paint the fence, right? So as soon as I drive, pull it in as close to my body as I can get. So if you see me here, elbows in, close to my body as I can get, punch. On the way down, as soon as I gooseneck it, it comes over the top. I pull my elbow straight in, and I'm trying to stay in this lane here. So I'll show you what that looks like, what we want, what we don't want, and then what we want. Okay, so not staying in my lane. Okay. See how I'm kind of like cocking my elbow out. Look what it does to my shoulder. It disconnects my shoulder, right? So I'm not here. Same thing here. We don't want it when we're in the rack, we don't want to come here. We just want to bring our elbow back and let the bell fall. So what we want is to stay in this lane. Okay, here, 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 here. That's what we want, okay? So that's mistake number 4, not staying in your lane, using this high pull on the way up, boom, and then kind of using that high pull on the way down. We don't want that, all right? Mistake number 5 that you make with the kettlebell snatch is, I don't know why, I don't know what people are looking at. Putting too much tension in your neck. I see this when people are swinging. I see this when, well, not that many people do repetition cleans, but let's just say cleaning. But I primarily see it when they're doing swings and they're doing snatches. I don't know what they're looking at. I'll demo. Swings first. Then I'll do snatches. You know, I'm gonna do my swings on this side because I've been snatching, doing everything on my right. So let's do it. It's like, what am I looking at? Is there something down here? Like, what are we looking at? We're putting tension, undue, unnecessary tension through the neck. I believe it was Brandon Hetzler, senior SFG, did a test with a 24 kilo on how much virtual force that we're creating. And I want to say it was with a 24 kilo, a guy can generate like 3 times his body weight in virtual force. So 200-pound guy, I can generate 600 pounds of virtual force on the backswing and on the way up, right? So you can think of virtual force as you get a scale, right? Like a dial scale. And if you step on the scale, the weight goes up, right? That's your weight. But if you jump on the scale, you'll see it go whoosh, like snap all the way over, right? That's virtual force. So the swing and the snatch are basically jump patterns, right? You're jumping. So this virtual force driving down, guys can generate up to 3 times their body weight in virtual force using a 24 kilogram bell. So if I'm hyperextending my neck, if I'm driving like this and keeping my neck in, there's a lot of force coming through that cervical spine, not good. So I see the same thing in snatching. It's like, I don't know what guys and gals are looking at. Like, does this look good? Does this look good from my neck and my shoulder, like, at all? Does this look good at all? The answer is no. Right? I've seen like guys driving their head forward. It's like, we want to finish our snatch. We want to finish our swing. We don't want to finish our swing and finish our snatch. just gonna jack your neck up. But hey, if you wanna keep doing it that way, the injury will be your corrector. Okay, or you can just follow this video, all right? What we want. I want you to imagine that you have a thin piece of glass, like right over the top of your head, okay? Or a thin piece of wood or whatever. And it's like, here's your head, and the glass is like a couple inches above. You're trying to, as soon as you drive, you're trying to hit that imaginary plywood, glass, whatever. Okay? So as soon as you come up, you're trying to hit it. You're trying to stay as tall as you can, keep your chin up, and you're trying to touch that glass. All right? So no bearing down, no tension through the neck, get tall. So I'm gonna do a couple looking down, and then I want you to see the correction, okay? You see the difference versus here? I don't know, what am I looking at here, right? So I can look out towards the floor here. As soon as I drive, I get tall, all right? That's it. Those are the 5 mistakes that you're doing. So let's recap. Mistake number 1, casting out. Swinging to overhead and casting out on the way down, not doing that, okay? Leading with the elbow, we want to pull the elbow in. Again, a lot of this we covered in the clean video. The clean is, it would be more accurate to say the snatch is a clean that ends overhead, okay? Mistake number 2 is lawnmower, pulling the belt out of your hips, putting unnecessary stress on the bicep tendon. Mistake number 3 is over gripping and grabbing the bell as if it were like a dumbbell. Over gripping there, which is going to cause slow hands. We want to manipulate the handle because the handle is the rudder. The handle controls the kettlebell. And the only way to move that handle around to steer the ship is to relax that hand and quickly insert into the kettlebell. Okay? That's mistake number 3. Mistake number 4 is not staying in your lane. As soon as you're snatching, okay? As soon as you're snatching, you're kind of bringing the elbow out and you're doing that funky high pull that I do not like. And then here. And then on the way down, same thing. Bringing your elbow out this way. You're no longer in your lane. We want that elbow to stay in tight here. And we want to be in this like paintbrush position. Mistake number 5 is too much tension through your neck. You should not be looking down while you're snatching. You should not be looking down while you're swinging. You should not be looking down while you're cleaning. You should not be looking down while you're doing presses. We want just looking straight ahead, okay? Getting as tall as you can and then having that imaginary piece of glass or plywood that you're trying to hit as you go overhead, all right? That's what we're trying to do, all right? So that's pretty much it. Here's what I want you to do. Put these into action, and then leave me something in the comments once you try these 5 corrections and you begin to enhance your competency. Let me know in the comments which of these 5 like kind of stood out to you the most. Which of these 5 gave you that aha moment? All right, so that's all I got. If you want to learn more about snatching the right way, we have a full-blown course where I take you step by step on how to master the kettlebell snatch, and it even comes with training protocols and exactly what training plans to follow, the exact drills, the exact everything that you're going to need to get really good at the snatch. If you're trying to prep for SFG, if you want to participate in the TSC, and if you're just trying to learn the snatch in general, trying to get in shape, and you're looking for that best bang for your buck, single kettlebell movement, Kettlebell Snatch is where it's at. So I'll put that in the comments if you want to check that out. It's called the Snatch Blueprint. You're welcome to check that out, grab a copy, and if you got any questions, just let me know. All right, so thank you so much for watching. Hector with strongestech.com with this week's common kettlebell mistakes for the week. Later.